The Royals took 2 of 3 from the Baltimore Orioles, ended the road trip 5-1. They're hot. They're playing good baseball. Let's talk about it all right now live on One Royal Way. We're back at it here on Kansas City Sports Network. I'm Joel Penfield. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Things are going well right now. The Royals have won 5 of their last 6 on this homestand. They have won 11 of their last 13 games. They are in a wild card spot right now, playing really good baseball. Wild one today, one in kind of the fashion that we've been accustomed to seeing from them over the last couple of weeks on Saturday, and found a way to win a series and took the season series from Baltimore as well. So that a lot of implications from that, even though it's only May 4th. So there's a lot to take from that. Before we dive in too much further, the show is always brought to you by Emprise Bank, member FDIC, our partners impossible here at KC Sports Network. Can't thank them enough for their support on this show and everything that we do here at KCSN. And make sure you're subscribed on all platforms, audio, video, wherever you consume this show. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you have your notification bells on so you know when I go live like this or whenever our episodes go up throughout the week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday on the audio side. And then oftentimes you'll see a Sunday night, Thursday night pattern of live shows at 8:30 Central. So be sure to come and hang out. Leave some questions in the chat. Leave some comments. If you are watching, I appreciate everybody that is here tuning in. Let's just go ahead and dive right in here, guys. This was a weird series from the jump just because of the way Friday went. They played really well in Tampa. The offense had really gotten going on Thursday of that series. Saw some crooked numbers, saw them start to put some numbers up, and they went and got just blanked by the Orioles. They end up losing that game. They lose that game 3-0, and it didn't even feel that close. Like it was 3 in the 7th by the Orioles, and that was all they would need. They didn't kind of got away from from Michael Walker, who had pitched really well leading into the 7th inning. He gives up a hit to Adley Rutschman and then a 2-run bomb to Ryan O'Hearn. And then later on, Emmanuel Rivera, the curse of former Royals, I guess, or the revenge of former Royals, came through there in the 7th inning, and that was all she wrote. There wasn't a lot to speak of, and it wasn't like they were punching out a lot. It was just, it felt like anything they put in play really wasn't. It just wasn't happening for them. They only had 4 hits in the game, 2 from Michael Massey, 2 from Freddie Fermin. It ended Bobby Witt Jr.'s 22-game hitting streak in that one. I thought Waka pitched pretty well, all things considered. 6 1/3, 7 hit, 3 earned. He got tagged with all 3 even after he left. 3 strikeouts, 1 walk, and then the home run to Ryan O'Hearn. Just a kind of a weird game. If they had really kind of fallen back, unfortunately, into what we have seen for most of this season with the way they handled some of the at-bats, too passive at times, too aggressive in others. And it was just kind of a perfect storm of a team that was able to take advantage of it. And coming into the game, Dean Kramer had a ERA north of 7. He didn't even get out of the 5th inning the last time the Royals faced him. They tagged him for 4 or 5 earned runs, and they had 8 hits, something like that. So you would think after they'd already had some success against him that they'd be able to replicate that, and they weren't able to at all. They only got it was only 7 whiffs. It wasn't like he was blowing it by guys, but he was inducing a ton of weak contact. He was getting early countouts. And he was able to work pretty deep into this game. He gets through 7 scoreless, only 2 strikeouts. Just a rough game. They happen. It was just kind of unfortunate to see it happen when it did because the offense had really gotten going in that game on Thursday, and they started to get some confidence there in Tampa. But they bounce right back the next day and go out and win a game in basically the same kind of fashion on Saturday. You win 4-0, and got off to a weird start in that game because it was a nationally televised Fox game. So they try to get the game started. And then right after each team bats in the first inning, nothing doing. So it wasn't like either team really got any momentum going. And then the game gets banged for an hour. And you're then in a spot where Chris Bubich has thrown one inning, and then he's already warmed up and everything's ready to go, and then he has to stop. And then Tomoyuki Sugano, similarly, not able to not able to kind of get things back going. Well, thankfully the rain delay was only an hour. Didn't seem like it was that serious. And they both go back out there, and credit to them for staying ready and being ready to go. Chris Booch only goes 5 in this one. His pitch count within the 70s, but because of the start, stop, and then having to restart, I think they was just precautionary, just like, hey, let's stay out of this here. But 5 scoreless for Bubich, 4 hits, 3 strikeouts, 1 walk. So again, kind of a low strikeout game, but a lot of early countouts. It's pretty efficient. 72 pitches in 5 innings is pretty solid. And he has the ERA once again below 2 after kind of a little bit of a clunker against Houston in his previous start. He bounced back pretty well and got them in a position where they felt they were able to keep themselves in the game as the offense was kind of working through it. Sagano is just a guy that gives the Royals some trouble. A guy that can manipulate the fastball all over the place, kind of not below hitting speed, but pretty close to it. Like it's 90 to 92. And with the emphasis on velocity, and a lot of it is a very crafty mid-30s pitcher that just knows how to get dudes out and get guys on their front foot and leaning and sink it, cut it, slide it, sweep it, throw a splitty in there. He loved throwing the splitter early in this one. But they still managed to scratch a couple across against him. Michael gets an RBI single there in the second inning. Keeps swinging a hot stick, and we'll talk about him, here in a minute. 5th inning, kind of a couple unlikely, a major unlikely was Cavan Biggio jumped on a first pitch fastball from Tomoyuki Sugano and hit it to right center, gets it out. I guess on the broadcast they mentioned he loves hitting in that ballpark, and that was pretty clear in this game. Royals data dugout. Bubich was sadly en route to an under-the-radar career night too. Whiffs weren't there, but a career best chase and starts. I thought he pitched really well, but given the stop-start area, like I was cool with them pulling him in that situation. Just you don't want to push it too far after that. And I think he had just gotten to the top of the order against Baltimore for the 3rd time. And since they had already seen him earlier this year, it was probably just like hey, let's not push this. We have a bullpen that is ready to go because Lugo gave them length, and Walker gave them some length. So it was just an opportunity to send it over. And I think that's not a bad idea. Plus, probably still some innings management even early in the season to make sure that Bubich is ready to go for the whole season. They don't have to skip starts or anything like that. Felt like a pretty good scenario there. But Cavan Biggio, back to what I was saying, jumps on a fastball, gives them a lead, and it was like, oh, man, again, it's not heavily relying on 3-4-5. It's doing exactly what I've talked about for most of the season. Can some guys that are not necessarily the names you would expect, are they able to contribute offensively once, twice a week and just take a little bit of pressure off? He did. And Daniel Lynch gives them 2 great innings out of the bullpen. One hit, 1 walk, 1 strikeout, but worked out a damage. There was nothing that felt stressful about his innings. The ERA is at 1.10 for him. Continues to pitch well and in a multi-inning spot that the Royals have talked about wanting to use him in, and they found a way to. Lucas Erceg, 2 strikeouts in the 8th and was just disgusting. Ended the 8th with a 99-mile-an-hour sinker on the black, down and away, outside corner. Nothing you're going to do with it. Just locked the guy up and got out of the inning. And Schreiber gave them a very good 9th inning with the game in hand. It was not a save situation, and it was not a save situation because Vinny Pasquantino gives them an insurance run there in the 8th, jumps on a ball It was a 3-2 count. He worked a solid count um, against Sir Anthony Dominguez. Saw some pitches and some of those in some spots where he has been too aggressive swinging. The first pitch you saw was a curveball down, and it's like one of those where it's middle down, and he swung at a lot of those curveball split stuff like that. Jumps on it. He spit on it. And he spit on another curveball. Works at 3-0, and then Dominguez gets back in the count. Throws a get me over fastball two seam or four seam fastball in the 3-2 count. Vinny hits it out to right center, and seems like he's starting to get going a little bit. He seemed like last night was a pretty cathartic type of game for him, rewarded with a good swing, and felt like he had not only exercised some demons of not swinging at some of those curveballs in the dirt, but also jumping on a middle fastball and not missing it, not popping it up, not rolling it over. He was able to hit a line drive and get it out of the ballpark. A very good game from there. And I do want to go back to John Schreiber briefly. There's still some of the expected numbers that are not awesome with him because there's not a huge amount of strikeout. The walk stuff is pretty concerning at times. The expected ERA is near 4 when he's got a 1.88 ERA. That said, the last couple of starts, I've noticed it. Q mentioned it, and I think David Lesky mentioned it as well, that he's throwing some like 5s and 6s up there, like 95, 96, whereas for most of last year, it was 92, 93. Occasionally he'd hit a 94, but a lot of 90, 91 as well. And even though he's got kind of a funky angle and he's got stuff that moves all over the place, like at 90, 91, it still can be hittable, especially when you're chronically in the strike zone or trying to stay in the zone, or you've already walked a guy and you can't walk another and you have to throw in the strike zone. Well, 92 is not going to blow anybody away. That angle at 96 makes the breaking stuff play so much better. So I'll be curious how much he's able to utilize that velocity more as we get into the season. It was just not something we saw from him last year, something he had flashed early in his career in Boston, but it just did not have it early on in this one, or last season, and then early on in this year. Last couple outings, he's shown that, and he's a much different pitcher because of it. So, I mean, a great team win. It was their 4th shutout in their last 8 games. They continue to pitch well. The pitching is going to keep them in so many of these games. Not necessarily the one that happened today, but the offense broke out. So we'll talk about the game on Sunday here right after this.
Looking for tickets for your next event? Tickets for Less is your #1 source. Save big on every purchase when you use promo code KCSN at ticketsforless.com.
Success in real estate takes more than vision. It takes the right financial partner. When someone takes something rundown and turns it into something great, that's called a comeback story, like Brain Group. They take distressed properties here in KC, completely rework them, and then turn them into valuable real estate. But that kind of work needs the right bank behind it. Enter Emprise Bank. They're not about cookie-cutter loans. They saw Brain Group's vision, backed them, and now they're making big moves in Kansas City real estate. Talk about your partner in possible. Emprise doesn't do one-size-fits-all financing. They invest in potential and back growth. Visit emprisebank.com/KC to learn more. Emprise Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Are you ready to win some real cash during the basketball playoffs? Well, check out Pick 6 from DraftKings. When it comes to basketball payouts, DraftKings Pick 6 posterizes the competition, and yeah, that includes Prize Picks. Hit all of your picks and score higher minimum payouts on Pick 6, plus even more cash if you outscore the competition. Pick 6 is available in most states, including Missouri, California, Texas, Georgia, and more. New players get 50 in Pick 6 credits instantly on just a $5 entry. Here's what you got to do. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code KCSN. That's code KCSN for new customers to play $5, get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Better payouts, bigger wins, only with Pick 6 from DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Limited time offers. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube right now, or after the fact you're watching this on YouTube. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you're hitting those notification bells and hitting like on the video. That helps this channel grow, and we have been growing throughout the year. We got over 700 at the end of April. I want to keep pushing that number. I don't necessarily have a goal in mind yet, but I want to keep pushing this thing. See how soon we can get to 800. Maybe by the All-Star break. Can we get there? And then another 95 subscribers or so by the middle of July. I think we can do it. Today's game was wild. And I know that if you follow this team closely and you're listening to this, you know how nuts today's game was. The Royals win 11-6. A lot of home runs in this game. 11 total home runs. 10 of them were solos. So, and I know that there's an old adage in baseball of solo home runs don't kill you. Well, they kind of did for Baltimore today. They hit 4 of their own, but the Royals hit 6. Just an absolutely insane game. I wasn't watching it. I was out on the golf course with my dad, but I had it on the radio, and I'm listening. Jake Eisenberg and Steve Stewart, as always, did a fantastic job with it. I'm going to try and go through this as quickly as I can, but there was a lot to go off of here. It was Michael Lorenzen versus Kyle Gibson. The scoring started in the second. Michael Garcia hits a home run, crushed a ball, and he's talk about swinging a hot stick. He hit 500 on the road trip and got his weighted runs created plus up to 147. And he hit another home run later in this game too, and absolutely pimped it. Got the Royals back in the game. It had tied the game in the 6th. There was plenty of other offense in there, but just talk about Michael for a minute. I talked about middle of last week that I've really started to kind of buy into what he is, and that this is not just the fool's gold we saw at the beginning of last season. The reason I say that is there was a lot of the expected numbers from like a batted ball perspective that were not necessarily in his favor. The ability to not chase, not swing and miss, and not strike out has always been there for him, but the batted ball quality was so poor. This year, it's way different. The expected weighted on base average, which essentially takes into account how your quality of contact, is in the 78th percentile according to Baseball Savant, 365. The expected batting average is 316. The hard hit percentage is 53% compared to last year being 42.8%. Way up from last year. He's got a little bit more bat speed. The barrel percentage isn't necessarily there, but when he does square it up, he finds a way to square up the ball more often than not, which is interesting that the squared up percentage and the barrel percentage are vastly different, but that's more to do with just hitting the ball hard than necessarily hitting a barrel, which it takes launch angle into account as well. He doesn't do a ton of that. It's a lot of line drives, but he's shown the ability to pull the ball efficiently and not be pull happy. Like he's found what seems to be a much more happy medium from that perspective, rather than what we saw last year where he was trying to just pull a duck hook and pull everything and try to get to that power. Now it's a lot more free and easy for him. And it seemed to make a massive difference. He's right now, pardon me, one moment. He's slashing 319, or that was actually coming into today. My apologies. 319, 379, 496, a 147 weighted runs created plus. In case you didn't know, he right now leads the team in batting average, leads the team in OPS, and leads the team in weighted runs created plus. Higher than Bobby Witt Jr. right now. Now, some of that is Bobby was 0 for the series until today, but he has made a real difference in his. He started to come on. We've seen the offense start to get going. He's having a really, really good start to this year, and I want to see him keep it up. I think he's going to, but nothing short of remarkable considering last year he was the worst qualified hitter in all of baseball, according to weighted runs created plus. He was the only dude below 70 that was a qualified hitter. And coming into the year, I didn't know what to expect from him. I had kind of written it off like, okay, I don't know how they're going to utilize him, but we'll see. And from not starting on opening day to now, you can't take this guy out of the lineup. And from hitting him 8th or 9th most of the season, he's now hitting 4th or 5th for you because he's been that valuable. I want to see him continue to do it, but there's a lot of good signs here. Michael Lorenzen got whacked around today. Was not able to replicate the 6 innings, 1-run ball that he had against the Rockies and the Rays. Jackson Holiday tagged him for 2. O'Hearn tagged him, and Cedric Mullins tagged him. So 4 home runs in 5 innings. Not in 4 and 2/3. You didn't even get through 5. 7 hits, 5 earned, 5 strikeouts, 4 home runs. ERA still 4.2, so it's not concerning. Just one of those crazy days where the ball's flying out and you make a mistake and these dudes are going to crush it. And that's exactly what we saw today. And I didn't even think he necessarily made too many bad pitches. Like he was trying to, throw, he was able to get the curveball over a couple times, but they weren't necessarily hangers. He hung one to Holiday, but like Mullins and O'Hearn, I don't think he necessarily hung them, but they were up enough that you can get the barrel on it. And with the way the ball was flying out, so anything that got barreled up seems like it left the ballpark. But obviously not a great start. But when the offense was able to back him up the way they did, he's able to get away with a no decision, and we move on to his next start. And it'll be back in Kansas City against Boston, I believe. So a little more friendly confines for sure. A couple guys hit their first home run of the season. Jonathan India finally got one, and it wasn't a big high fly ball, but it was a hard hit ball on a line, and he started to come along a little bit as well. It's still a little bit of a work in progress, but his floor is so high because of his ability to walk, and I'm willing to be like, just keep sticking him at the top of the lineup every day. I know he's not hitting a ton, but even in this stretch, he had kind of hit his low point at the beginning of that Rockies series. But ever since then, he's walking nearly as much as he's striking out. He's walking near 20%. And it's an absurd number, but he's just going to keep doing it. He's going to keep having quality at bats. He had 2 more hits today. And I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but the OPS is back up to 628, and it's continuing to go up because of what he did in Tampa and what he did in the last 2 games of this series. Bobby gets a home run. He gets 2 hits. Finally gets his 2 hits in this series. Got the OPS back up to 872, a home run and a double. You're not going to see many 0 for slides from him like what happened in the first 2 games of the series. But you live and you learn. He's still Bobby Witt Jr. Like, he is human. That kind of stuff happens. I guess unless you're Aaron Judge hitting 430, like you're gonna see a couple of games where it's like, oh man, Bobby's 0 for 8 to start the series. What the heck? But he ended up getting a home run that was a huge difference in this game. Gave the Royals a lead in the 7th, and then Vinny goes back to back with him, gets his team leading 6th, and he had 3 hits today as well. He was a triple shy of the cycle. He's starting to heat up as well. Came into today. Let me get the number jump, but I clicked on the wrong person. I don't want Vinny Pastano. I want Vinny Pasquantino. The weighted runs created plus is up to 71. It was 56 leading into the day. Been one of the worst qualified hitters in the sport to this point. But you could see signs over the last 3 or 4 games that he's about to get on one of those heaters that we've seen. And when he's on one of those, it completely changes the complexion of the offense. That's why it's just like, these guys just need to get going. They need to see some of these. They need to have a game like this. And against the team that is no slouch, I know they're kind of underachieving to this point, but Baltimore, still a very good team. Tampa came in playing really well. So they're starting to get it going a little bit, and hopefully this is the game that really turns the corner for the offense. And of all guys, Luke Maile, shout out, man. Like he comes in, he works a walk in one of his first plate appearances. He hits the home run that gives him a little bit more cushion late in this game. He had never caught Michael Lorenzen in an official game, and he's having to work through 4 or 5 pitchers. His guy's getting kind of whacked around, and he has to throw, Steven Cruz, Lucas Ursek, Angel Serpa, Taylor Clark. Like he has something related with Clark because of AAA, but he comes up, and part of why he was up was because of the hip soreness for Salvi. Salvi finally got back in the lineup today, but I imagine they're going to carry Luke Maile for a little while until Salvi's ready to get back behind the plate. I'm not sure when that will be. I imagine the team is going to be cautious with it. A lot of first base DH options for Salvi, and probably just DH for a little while. Thankfully, Vinny is a very good defender, and you're not losing anything by having that there. Michael Massey got off the schneid, and he hit his first home run, which really put the game away. It had gotten in doubt a hair in the 8th inning. They tried to sneak another inning with Angel Serpa. He gives up 3 straight hits, and it's like, okay, Ursig, go save us, and he did. Kevin Biggio gets on. Michael Massey hits a home run. It's 11-6, and there's your game. Like I said, it was 11 total home runs. The Royals hit 7, which is a franchise record. The wind. So I'm looking at the wind now that I'm thinking about it. The wind was blowing right to left 6 miles an hour. So it wasn't even blowing out. Just one of those days where the ball just flies a little bit. And that ballpark does play small at times. And even when they move the fence back, left, center to right plays really small. It plays a little smaller now because they moved the fence back in a little bit. But a game that the Royals desperately needed, not necessarily that they needed to win, but to win the fashion that they did, it gives me a little bit of hope because I know that the starting staff and the pitching staff are not going to go 6 home runs like that very often. I don't expect to see many games where a starting pitcher is going to give up 4 home runs in that fashion. So we're in a position where this team is continuing to win games. The offense is starting to get going. The pitching is still really dialed in. They're winning on the road. They now own the tiebreaker over Baltimore, which I think if Baltimore is able to get this thing turned around, that's significant because you own that tiebreaker when it comes to wild card position. They're playing ball, and now you come back home and you get 4 against the White Sox. How they handle those games, this is where you have to take care of business, and you cannot take an unacceptable, crazy loss. This is where you have, at minimum, you have to take 3 or 4. Like this is not like you try and get a gritty split out of this. Like there's no shot. You cannot let that happen. The White Sox are still very bad, and despite putting up a bunch of runs in the games that they win, they're still a -24 run differential. They're 10-24. They are better than last year, but very, very, very low bar to clear with that situation. And with the win today, the Royals actually got their run differential over into the positives, into the green. They're +1 now. Hopefully we see that progress a little bit. Let me see if I can get you I'll get the pitching probables here for the games coming up this week if I can. And I don't know why the MLB app just sent me all the way back here. So it's going to be Cole Reagans is going to pitch on Monday. They announced that he is not going on the injured list. The skip start was enough for him, and they feel fine with it. Shane Smith is going to be on the mound for the White Sox. 2.23 ERA in 32 1/3 so far this season. On Tuesday, it's going to be Seth Lugo against Sean Burke. 2-4, 4.91 ERA on the year. On Wednesday, it'll be Michael Walker versus Jonathan Cannon, 2-3 with a 4.26 ERA. And then on Thursday, it'll be Chris Bubich versus Davis Martin, who has a 3.52 ERA on the season. Their pitching has been better. They have some guys with some quality stuff. Ethan Katz is a very good pitching coach, but just that team is so devoid of talent at times that it doesn't matter. But the Royals have to go in and they have to take advantage of this. Boston's coming in. They've been kind of middling, but I think there's still a lot of talent on that team. If you're able to go and face Boston and go 23-16, come in and you're 23-16 and you're getting up closer to where the Tigers are, and of course the Tigers have the Rockies this week, so it's not like you're going to get any help from the Rockies, and you have to continue to keep pace. And the best way to do that is just win your own games and win the games that are in front of you. And we know the mentality of this team; they're going to do that. So here we go. This is a stretch of the year where the schedule is not going to be this soft for this long. The Royals, to their credit, have taken advantage of it, and now they're in a position to put themselves right back in the hunt for the American League Central and for wildcard positioning. And as crazy as it sounds, given how frustrating the offense has been, how frustrating some of these games have been throughout the beginning part of the season, the Royals are on pace to win 88 games, which is 2 more than they did last season. That's what this kind of stretch can do for a team. And there we go. This has been a lot of fun. I appreciate those that have come and hung out with us. And I do want to mention, Jac Caglianone hit 2 more home runs this weekend. He shouldn't be in AA for too much longer. The weighted runs created plus coming into today was 148, and he gets 2 hits with another home run today. It's going to be over 150. He's still hitting over 300 with an OPS around 900. The strikeout rate is in a manageable spot. The walk rate is exactly where you want it to be. His at-bats are getting more mature. He's doing damage in addition to just making contact and getting on base. There ain't much more to see there. So if you have bought tickets to see him in Northwest Arkansas, I would expedite that process because he's going to be heading north up I-29 a little bit, heading toward Omaha here sooner rather than later, I would imagine. I think that's going to do it for the episode tonight. Before I do want to get a little toast game in here, brought to you by Holiday Distillery. This bottle of soft red wheat that I keep by my desk is fantastic, and it is one of my favorite bottles of bourbon that I own. And I'm going to toast game Michael Garcia. I talked about it earlier. He has been a linchpin for this offense so far this year. He and Bobby have been the most consistent contributors to this point in the year. He has completely changed his offensive profile and the outlook of his career with what he has done to this point. Now, it is May 4th. There's a lot of baseball left, but there are a lot of indicators that what he is doing is sustainable and that he's going to be a huge part of this team moving forward. And if he's able to lock down third base like we maybe thought he was going to be able to do going into 2024, it changes the complexion of this team quite a bit. So to Michael Garcia, to the Kansas City Royals, that is going to do it for One Royal Way tonight. I appreciate everybody. Make sure you like and subscribe, as I mentioned in every episode. And we will talk on Tuesday after the first 2 games of the series with the Chicago White Sox. I will talk to y'all soon.